Today, the US will publish its labor market data for May. Next week, the US will report on its inflation data. That is the key indicator for the economic condition. Besides, the US Fed will comment on the current economic situation. The next trading week will begin with Japan's final GDP report for the first quarter. According to preliminary estimates, Japan's economy slipped into deeper recession. Notably, the country entered a recession in the fourth quarter of the previous year. Last month, such weak data triggered the sell-off of the yen. It's quite possible that on Monday, the market reaction will be the same. On Tuesday, the Eurozone will also disclose its final GDP data. According to the first and second estimates, the country's GDP dropped by 3.2%. However, the final figures could show even a more significant decline. Of course, markets are already priced in the ECB's attempts to minimize the negative impact of the coronavirus and extension of the financial support program. However, the GDP data may darken the market mood for a short period of time. On Wednesday, market participants will again switch to risk assets. The latest report from China pointed to the fact that the world's second-largest economy is spreading its wings. Thus, the CPI data for May is expected to add optimism to the market and boost demand for risk assets. It means that the euro is likely to recoup some of its losses rather quickly. Besides, on Wednesday, the United States will publish its inflation figures. In April, consumer prices slid by 0.8%. Thus, markets became almost sure that it's necessary to lower the key rate to negative readings. Of course, such expectations will weigh on the US dollar. Several hours later, the Fed will announce its decision on the key interest rate. However, the regulator will hardly cut the benchmark rate. It's likely to remain unchanged at the level of 0.25%. At the same time, the Fed's rhetoric may change the market sentiment. If the regulator drops a hint about lower interest rates, pressure on the US dollar may increase. Apart from the above-said events, it would be a good idea to take notice of other important reports. Thus, on Monday, China will publish its trade balance data, whereas Germany is expected to reveal its industrial production figures, and Canada will report on its housing starts. On Tuesday, Australia's business confidence data is slated for release. Besides, Germany will report on its trade balance data, and the United States will disclose the wholesale inventories figures. On Wednesday, we will take a close look at China's CPI data and its producer price report. You were watching Forex Trader Calendar on InstaForex TV channel with me, Kate Stichina. We wish you profitable deals with InstaForex.